delicious. Hi there, Danny here, finally from California. No, I'm just kidding, it doesn't look like California, but it is an amazing place. I'm in the southern part of Poland. We've got beautiful mountains here, and it's a great place to train mountain biking. Not only mountain biking, but today we focus on the group sets. This group set you can see here, that's the Shimano Alivio. We're gonna start from Shimano Alivio, and the lower group sets I'm gonna cover just based on the online info, okay? So this is the Alivio. This is the kind of MTB group set. You can use this on a mountain bike. Below this, we're gonna have the Altus, then Acera and Tourney, different kind of Tourney group sets for super budget bikes. But Alivio is really interesting. So we're gonna see the details, and I'm gonna tell you whom would I recommend, maybe not buying the group set itself, but buying the bike equipped with the Alivio, or maybe upgrading some of your bike's components with the Alivio stuff. So let's see what's inside. We're gonna start with the crankset. This is a very important part of our bicycle because it will impact the weight of the bike, it will impact the stiffness of our drivetrain, or the feel of how stiff the bike even is. And also it will impact your abilities to ride very fast, so on the high gear, or to climb steep hills, so on the low gear. We're gonna see how many gears it has, but also what's the ratio. On the box we can see most of the features the component will have. So this is the FCM 4050 and this is the 3x9 system. So we're gonna have 3 chainrings on the crankset, compatible to 9-speed chain and 9 gears on the Cassette, but on the Alivio it can also come with the double crankset, so it can also be 2x9. Then we've got the Hyperglide system. It smoothens the work of our chain on the chain rings. 2-piece crankset, very important one. I'm going to show you that on the crankset. Mega 9 line light basically means you've got 9 gears in the rear. And then these 3 logos mean that we have the largest, the middle and the small gear made of steel. You can use this crankset with the bottom bracket for either 68 or 73 millimeters wide shells of the frame, and then this is the number of the teeth. So this is the info about gearing ratio. 40, that's the biggest one, 30, mid one, and 22, the smallest one. And finally, this one is made for casual bikes. So it's not made particularly for mountain bikes or road bikes, just for casual bikes. So something like cross bikes, hybrid bikes, but you will quite often see that on the budget or just entry-level mountain bikes as well. This is the info about the length of the crank arm, 175, the most popular one. And then you can have it either with or without the chain protection it's got here. So let's see the crankset. These are the systems used on the Shimano Alivio drivetrain. 2-piece crankset, that means integrated spindle, that's why we can see through it. Mega 9 light, that's the 9-speed Cassette, and then HG Hyperglide system. That means some additional ramps and tooth profiles which make the shifting process shorter. So it will take, it shows here maybe 1.5 links, maybe 2 links of your chain instead of quite a few links. That means that the shifting is more crisp, it's quicker, and it allows us to change the gears while pedaling. I mean, we need to pedal, but while applying some more force on the drivetrain. Here it is, here is our crankset. First off, the most important system it's got is the 2-piece crankset. That means we have the left crank arm and then the right crank arm, which is integrated with the spindle. That's very important. Why is it so? The whole system will be stiffer, easier, it has less parts, it is just better. So 2-piece crankset is something I would recommend to have. Then we have the chain rings. 3 chain rings, so this is the triple one. The smallest one has 22 teeth. That means it will take you literally anywhere. You can climb any steep hill, mountain using this little chain ring. So 3x9, you don't have to be worrying that you don't have like 10 speed in the rear or 11 or 12. 3x9 is a lot. It's more than 1x12, let's say. So do not be afraid that Alivio will not give you possibilities of riding fast or climbing the lowest gear, climbing on the steep hills. But I would also recommend at least considering the gearing ratio on the double crankset, because Alivio can also come with just 2 chain rings, and that's enough. That's the sweet spot in my opinion. That's something I would use. I use it for racing and training, but I recommend that you also check out the double one. It will be easier, it will be lighter, because these chain rings are made of steel. Not that important for you, but just something to bear in mind. Double to 2x9 is also a lot. 3x9 is a lot, and 2x9 is just enough for pretty much everything, even on the mountain biking. Now, steel chain rings is the disadvantage. The crankset isn't very light, but steel chain rings will be very durable, much more durable than aluminum and for sure the titanium. So steel is good. It is cheap. It will be cheap to replace, but not many of you will have the need of replacing the steel chain rings on the crankset if you take care of your chain. So that's it. Let's see the weight. By the way, this is the protection. So if you're using this for casual bike, cross bike, commuter bike, you can ride in your jeans, and those will be protected against the biggest chaining here. But you can also just remove these bolts and remove this protection if you prefer. The weight of the Alivio crankset, complete with the additional protection, triple one steel, 1036 grams. Moving on to chains. On the Alivio Groupset we have the 2x9 or 3x9 drivetrain. That means we need the 9-speed chain. So this is the chain for the Alivio, and this is the, for example, the Derailleur 10-speed chain, which will not be compatible with a 9-speed cassette. There are some differences here. The main one is of course the width of the chain, because 9-speed and 10-speed makes a difference for the chain on the cassette. The Derailleur will have the HGX system, and according to the info on the Shimano website or here on the box, this one is suitable for mountain biking. This one still is made for casual bikes. The 10-speed also have the Derailleur system. Basically that means having 10-speed. And also let's talk about these two logos. And so the pins of that chain, the logo with the pin, should mean the Siltech surface treatment. That means at least the pins and the rollers of the chain are treated with some chemicals which include fluorine molecules. That means that we have less friction. The chain will be better in cleaning out of water and dirt. And the HGX will mean that we have directional chain, and also the plates are made for shedding the dirt. That's why we have here those two info: matte shedding design and directional chain. And finally we have the info about the number of the links, 116 links for example, and 114 links right here. This chain can be very durable. The chain, 114 links with the small packaging, 312 grams, so should be about maybe 305 or little bit less. Now the cassettes, 9-speed, 10-speed, there won't be that much difference, some weight differences and 1 gear extra for the 10-speed. Here on the Alivio 9-speed cassette we have the info about the Hyperglide system, 9-speed. But also here we have the logo of the mountain bike here and the road bike. That's interesting. There is no such logo on the chain. And then different options for the number of the teeth on the sprockets. I'm going to show you that in a second. This one is 12 by 36. It can start with 11 by 25. With this one, 10-speed, we have similar one, but starting with 11. So 11 to 36, of course, 10-speed HGX system. This one displays only the mountain bike. That's interesting, not the road bike. And here we're gonna have some spider for a couple of sprockets. Let's look into that. 10 speed, 9 speed, this is the option of 11 by 36 teeth, so 11 teeth on the smallest sprocket, 36 on the largest. Here we have different option, 12 36. We also could go for the 11 36, but this is what I have. So 12 teeth here, 36 teeth right there. So what's the difference? One gear extra. 11 teeth on this sprocket means higher speed than 12 teeth on this sprocket. These are the teeth, right? But remember that if you have larger chainring in the front on the Alivio, then you can have the same speed on the descents. Now, how do these gears go? On the 10 speed we have 36, 32, 28, 24. On the 9 speed, 36, 32, 28, 24, exactly the same. Then 21 and 21. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gears are exactly the same on both. Then here we go 19, 17, 15, 13, 11. And here we go not from 19 but from 18. 18, 16, 14 and 12. Not that much difference. You don't have to be worrying that 9 speed won't give you all the gearing. It will be probably a little bit heavier, but otherwise it's just really good drivetrain. And then on the other side we can see the differences in the spider. This spider has less material, so less weight. We have here 8 sprockets mounted on one spider and then 2 separate ones. Here we have same 8 sprocket on one spider but one separate, because this is 9, this is 10 speed. You can see less materials here. We'll see what the scale says, but I think it feels that this one is a little bit heavier.
The Cassette 9 speed steel, 411 grams.
Front derailleur. Not many technologies I could maybe mention here, but it's worthy to mention this front derailleur will be compatible with different mounting types and also cable routing types on the modern bikes, which is really great. Mega 9 light, so 9 speed in the rear. This one is compatible with 3 by chain set with 40, 30 and 22 teeth on the chain rings. 9 speed. Cassette, of course. This is the same thing. And finally we are getting the shims, which will allow us to mount this front derailleur on the different thicknesses or the tubes of different diameters, because this is going to be mounted on the seat tube. And finally we can have the either cable going from the bottom or from the top to this derailleur. It will work with both systems, and this is for casual bikes. The front derailleur looks pretty nice, like most of the components of the Alivio group set. This is the silver part and the gray kind of part. It looks really nice. This part of the derailleur allows us to route the cable either from the top or from the bottom. That's nice. And here are the shims. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different shims, which will give us the chance to mount this front derailleur on different seat tubes, which can have different diameters.
The front derailleur with the most traditional and maybe perhaps most common mounting so far, the clamp-on is 160 grams.
The rear derailleur is very important for us because probably one of the first parts you are looking at when you're just checking out the bikes of your friends is the rear derailleur. So we have the RD rear derailleur M4000 SGS. That's the length of the cage. I'm going to show you that. Now, Mega 9 light, so 9 speed. We have the shadow system. That's very good. And finally, direct mount and casual type of bikes. How do you like the look? It's pretty nice. So we have the black cage, and the body of the derailleur is gray once more. The most important system here is the shadow. So the profile of this derailleur is lower than on those non-shadow derailleurs. It doesn't stand out so much from the bike, so it's more difficult to damage it during the crash or when your bike crashes. And also the springs are a little bit harder. That means your chain is not going to bounce around that much and hit your chain stays. This is very good. And this is the modern type of the mounting. This is the direct mount and the barrel adjuster for the cable. So this is how we adjust the tension of the cable. For me, it looks really nice.
The reed derailleur with the long cage, 261 grams.
And the shifters. The shifters tell us a lot about the Groupset. This is like our first contact point between us, our palms, and the Groupset. Of course, the brakes as well. But we like when they click nicely and they cooperate with the derailleur. What system we've got here on the Alivio shifters is the SIS, Shimano Index System. So this nice clicking, that's the indexing. Mega 9 light, so 9 gears in the rear, two-way release. We can release the cable or shift down the cassette in 2 ways, and then optical gear display, we can see what gear we are on currently, and then the barrel adjuster for casual bikes, and this is the type of cables and the housings.
And here is the shifting lever, the right one for the reed derailleur. It is of course 9-speed because of a Mega 9 light system, and it has the optical gear display. You can see these numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and this little red arrow or pointer will point out either on the number or between the numbers, so you always know on what gear you are, and this is pretty handy. We also have the two-way release system. That means that this lever might be pushed or pulled, and the effect with the same effect, which means releasing the cable. So going from lower to higher gears. The clicking is very light, and if you're gonna have clean housings and cables on your bike, it will be really enjoyable changing the gears. As for the left shifter, we have the version for the triple crankset, so 3 gears in the front, or for the double crankset, so 2 gears in the front. I do like these shifters for commuting, for some trekking bikes, and also some light mountain biking. It will be very good. The right shifter, so for the reed derailleur, 147 grams with the cable. The left shifter for the front derailleur triple one, 146 grams. So Alivio, I'm 100% sure I would buy a bicycle on Alivio components. When I started racing, I started on Tourney, then I switched to Altus with maybe I had one bike with Alivio reed derailleur, and that's it. This is a good piece of componentry. Steel drivetrain will be really strong. You can make thousands of kilometers if you really take care about your chain. Wonderful components. So I would buy a bicycle equipped with the Alivio components. Today I've got like helicopters here, full of cars, some racing super bikes. What's happening here? I'm like in the middle of forest. Cool, we can continue, but I would not buy just the components in order to upgrade the bike. If you have bike equipped with Tourney or Altus or some unknown components, I would only replace the parts that don't really work on your bike. So for example, if you have Tourney reed derailleur, the Alivio will smash it because of the much better spring. It will be more precise, it will hold the chain in a much better way. But buying like complete Groupset, I don't think it would be a good idea. On a bike which is already in your local store, you want to buy it, good. Otherwise, if you buy just the parts, buy and replace those which don't work on your bike. That's what I think on the Alivio components. And the next one will be Diori.